Hey guys, so today's video is going to be a how to make a hamster, gerbil, or mouse treat. So this is a cake, and this was my own original idea, so please do not copy me unless you ask my permission and I say yes, and you have to give me complete credit because this is my original idea. But let's just get into this video and what you basically need for this cake. So let's go. So basically what you need is a teaspoon, some measuring spoons, I mainly use the tablespoon, and 2 different spoons just for mixing, 2 bowls to mix in, and 1 egg, just some oil, you can use vegetable or olive oil, your hamster, gerbil, or mouse's daily food, some peanut butter, I'm just using the one with banana, granola, and peanuts in it, some flaxseed or wheat germ, and some yogurt drops. I suggest the milk drops because you can dye them, but you can just use any type of milk, yogurt drops. And you're gonna need some oatmeal. I suggest whole grain oats, but and it have to be plain. And then just some flour. You can use whole wheat or all-purpose, doesn't really matter. Some food coloring and some water. And no, you're not gonna need a cupcake pan. You're gonna need a regular pan. So yeah. And then just preheat your oven to 350 degrees. So now you're just gonna take about 4 to 5 tablespoons of oats and just put them into your bowl. We're just going to start mixing our dry ingredients first. And then you're just going to put about 3.5 tablespoons of your hamster, mouse, or gerbil's food. And then you're just going to put in 2 tablespoons of flour. And 1 teaspoon of flaxseed or wheat germ, or both. And just mix those together. And just take a big spoonful of your peanut butter. You can use any type of peanut butter. I'm just using the chunky kind with banana, granola, and peanuts in it. Just some water and add in your egg. You only need the egg whites unless you were making a really big batch, but I wasn't because this makes a lot of cookies anyway, so, or cake, whatever, cookies. And just mix this together. So you're gonna think you failed when you're mixing this because every time I make this I think I'm gonna fail or whatever, but it has to turn into a sticky dough before you add more flour, and it's kind of tough. You have to play with it and you have to keep adding water and flour, so it's kind of annoying, but you eventually get there into the dough. So yeah. And it does take a while to mix together, so yeah. So now just basically knead it or whatever onto the table or counter or whatever. And you're gonna want to knead it or try to knead it and just play with it and make it into a dough that's not sticky anymore, but that not too dry and crumbly. So now you're just gonna want to grease your pan. You can use parchment paper, not wax paper, or tinfoil. You can use tinfoil or parchment paper, but you can just use olive oil or vegetable oil and just grease the pan, which is easier. So now you're just gonna roll out your dough, roll it fairly thin so it bakes better. And I just have this little cup thing, it's hamster food, like a food dish that I don't really use. And I'm just cutting these out, and it does make, I think, 10 cookies and like, I don't know, 11 or so of those small little round balls that you'll see in a later part of this video. So yeah, it does make a lot of cookies actually, and yeah. So of course you don't have to make them look like cakes, but you can just make them into little balls like this. Just whatever you want. I just wanted to make them into cake so I could put icing on them. This is just what they look like. Just put them in the oven. In the oven, our oven is a lot hotter than most ovens, like it's very hot. So I put them in for about 10 minutes. I did put them in for 7 here, but you're going to want to check them and make sure they don't burn. And make sure they're not too doughy. And just clean up your mess while you're waiting. Also, while you're waiting, we can make the icing. So you're just going to need some food coloring. This is kind of optional, but I really like food coloring to use. Just pick your color. And then you're just going to need your desired color of food coloring, some yogurt drops, a bowl, a spoon, and, went out of focus. And you just need some water. And some oil. I forgot to say that. And you're also going to need a spoon, and your flour. So you're just going to I took about 12 of the carrot flavor yogurt drops. You can use any type of yogurt drops. The milk drops that are in the UK are really good because you can food color, like dye them after. So yeah, and this icing is good for students and Roborowskis and gerbils and mice. So yeah, and just a teaspoon of oil. So yeah, so I wouldn't really recommend this icing for the diabetic prone species of hamsters or your diabetic hamster, but you can give it to them just very, very sparingly. And just put it in the microwave for about a minute. And I forgot to say that it took me about a minute and 30 seconds, but you gotta add water halfway through and mix it halfway through. So every 30 seconds, mix it and make sure it melts correctly. So now it just looks like this watery thing. So you're just gonna kind of break it up with your spoon and mix it, and you're going to want to add some flour. I added about 2 teaspoons to 12 yogurt drops, and you don't want it too thick, but you don't want it too runny. You just want it kind of like a paste, a little bit thinner than a paste. And this does, when in room temperature, it does harden up, so you might have to put it in the microwave before your cookies are done. And so just me taking out the cookies, and they are very hot, so I keep calling them cookies. They are cake, but they look like cookies, so cake, cookies, whatever you want to call them. So just let them cool for like 5 to 7 minutes. Just make sure they're not too hard and not too soft when you take them out. So yeah. So for the next type of icing, this is for the diabetic prone species of hamsters, or if you want to offer this more often, but you just need your flour, water, food coloring, and I put a tiny bit of peanut butter in there because my hamsters are picky, if you want to know what that is on the side of the bowl. And I did get food coloring all over my hand, so don't do that. Just basically mix that together. It has to be a little bit thinner than a thick paste. So about a paste that's a little bit thinner, that's still kind of runny but not really drippy and runny. And this is why I like the color, because you can add food coloring to this one. Now just frost your cakes. The yogurt drop ones you would only want to feed about once a month, the bigger ones. And if you were to frost the smaller little balls in the middle with the yogurt drop flavor, then you could give those every 2-3 weeks. But so the smaller ones you could give every week if you frosted them with the pink food color, the pink frosting, or just plain. You don't have to put frosting on these, just I thought it was a good idea. And you can just leave them plain if you want to. So, yeah. And just put them in the freezer, and that is just basically it, you guys. They are pretty simple, and they are really yummy. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Bye!